In this tutorial, I will be showing you how to create an Andy Warhol inspired pop art collage. And it will end up looking something like this. So let's go ahead and get started. The first step, of course, will be to import your image into your Photoshop work area, which of course you can do through File and Open. And now that we have our image, we need to crop it down so that we just have the face. So go over to the sidebar and click the crop button. I want to set a ratio up in this top bar, and I'm going to set it to be 4:6. This is what I've chosen so that all of my images are the same size and so that I can have my final product be the size that I want it to be. Okay, so this is looking pretty good. Also notice that I do have the lines. I have a grid on mine that shows me the ratio, the rule of thirds. And so you can do a rule of thirds, you can do a grid. There's a lot of different options. I like the rule of thirds. It's helpful for me. So I'm gonna do mine like this. Okay, I like that. So now I'm gonna press enter, and that is set. So I want to also set my image size, and I'm going to set it to be 4:6 as well. So now that I have my size, I'm going to go ahead and zoom in, Control or Command plus, so that I can work with this a little bit better. And I'm going to make another, I'm going to make a copy of my layer. So I'm going to press Control J. So I have another layer, and that's just for backup. So now what I want to do is I'm going to begin editing the face, and I want to give my face just a little bit more contrast. I want some more highlights and some more shadows. So I am going to go into Image, Adjustments, and I'm going to do Brightness and Contrast. You could also do curves. There's of course, multiple ways to do this. I'm going to do brightness and contrast and just give it a little bit more highlights and contrast, higher contrast. Okay, I like that. Okay, so now we want to basically reduce our image down to 2 values, and we're going to do that through Adjustments, Threshold. And as you can see, there's just 2 values, white and black. Of course, I can also adjust the threshold level over here with the slider. I can go to the right if I want it to be darker, and then to the left if I want it to be lighter. I'm going to pick basically what it had for me originally. I like this because I can see his eyes, but I still have his features are still outlined enough that I can see where his head and neck are. And I'm going to press OK. And now it is time to go ahead and start adding in our color. And so I need to select this black area and select the white area. So I'm going to start with the black, and the way to select it is Select, Color Range, Image, push this little image button down here, and then I want to make sure that I have this black area selected. Okay. Okay, so now you can see this moving part. That's called marching ants. I have the marching ants on the black area, which means it is selected. So now I'm going to pick my color, and this little square, these 2 squares over here, is where I pick my color. This top one is the foreground color. The back one is my background color. So I'm going to change my foreground color, and I'm going to start with blue. I'm going to do a blue color. Now, of course, so I picked my hue over here on this slide. I can change it to be a lighter value or a darker value, or I can change the intensity as well. I'm going to do a pretty intense blue, primarily because Andy Warhol and pop art movement is associated with intense colors. So now I want to fill in the area I've selected with the color I've selected. So now I go to Edit, Fill, and you want to make sure that this is on the right selection. I want my foreground color because, again, I changed that foreground color. And there you go. So now we want the inverse, right? We want to get the white section, and the way to do that is select inverse. And now the white section is selected. So we want to change our color, and I want to do a complementary color scheme. So I'm going to go down to orange. It's a pretty good orange. Okay, edit, fill, foreground color, okay, and there you go. So now I can deselect, Control D, and I have my image. This is my first image, this is what I was hoping for, and so now I'm going to save this in a folder. So save as, I'm going to put it in this Pop Art Portraits folder, and I'm going to call it Face 1. Save. So now what I need to do is I need to make essentially 5 more portraits so that I can compile these all together with a total of 6. There's a couple ways I could do this. I could go back to select, color range, and do the whole thing again, changing my colors, or do the inverse. I could do all that again. However, a simpler way is just to go to Image, Adjustments, and then scroll down to Hue Saturation. This allows me to change the hue, the saturation or intensity, and the lightness or the value of the color I've chosen. Now, since I have chosen complementary colors, orange and blue, it is at that locked distance, that locked ratio on the color wheel. So it's going to lock it in as complementaries no matter where I slide this hue bar. So I'm going to just go ahead and just change from here, and as you can see, it is just slowly changing it to different complementary color combinations. Of course, I can change my saturation from here and make it be more or less saturated, or lighter or darker. But I only want to change my hue right now. So I'm going to pick yellow and purple. Just go ahead and do that color combo. Yellow and purple, another set of complementary colors. File, save as, and I'm going to save it again. And this time I'm going to call it Face 2. Okay. And now I'm ready. I'm going to do the same thing again. Image, Adjustments, Hue Saturation. And I'm going to change the color again. And I'm going to do a yellow green and a red violet. File, save as, Face 3. And I'm just going to continue this until I have gotten all 6 of my color combinations that I am wanting. Let's do a red-green. Face 4. Image, Adjustments. Face 5. Okay, I just need one more. Image, Adjustments. Now you'll notice that if I go too far, you'll notice that in some sections it's gonna inverse the colors. I tend to like the ones that look more natural, where the darker color is on the facial features. So I'm gonna pick that. Okay, and save as Face 6. Okay, so now I have all 6 of my images, and we're on to, oops. No, I wanted to call it Face 6. Face 6. Okay. So now we are on the last stage. So what we need to do is just combine the images, and I'm going to do that by going to File, New. Let's going to take a second to load. And I'm going to just pick one, create, because I can change the size again. I'm going to change my size, image canvas size. I'm going to just change it to 12 by 12. I want it to be a square because my image will end up being a square. Okay, so now all I have to do is move my pictures in. So I have this one, I have my select tool, and I'm just going to drag it up in there. And I can position it. And I'm just going to do the same thing on all of them. I can just do open recent and move them in. Of course, I can reposition once I've gotten them all in there and seeing what I have to work with. So we'll just move them all in. Okay. All right, and one last one. All right, and I like it. I think it's pretty good. Maybe I'll switch these two. Okay, so now I have my image, I like it, and now I just want to crop, I'm just going to crop my image down. I'm going to change this to be 12 by 12. So it's just going to keep my ratio as being a square. And there we go. And enter. And there you go. That is how you create an Andy Warhol inspired pop art portrait collage. And of course you can export or you can save as however you would like.